Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York. I'd like to announce that at the conclusion of our public session, we will have an executive committee to discuss personnel matters. Let me request that everyone take a moment to mute your cell phone or BlackBerry. Thank you very much. As usual, CUNY TV is transmitting the public sessions of this afternoon's meeting of the Board of Trustees live on cable channel 75. The meeting is also being webcast live and can be accessed by going to www.cuny.edu. The public session of this board meeting will be available as a podcast within 24 hours and can also be accessed via the CUNY website. I would like to formally welcome Trustee Judah Gribetz to the Board of Trustees. Trustee Gribetz was appointed by Mayor Bloomberg with the unanimous approval of the New York State Senate to serve on the board. Previously, he served as a CUNY board member from June 1980 to April 1989. Trustee Gribetz has had a very distinguished career in law and community service, and we're very fortunate that you have returned to CUNY at this important time. Welcome back, Trustee Gribetz. Would you like to say a few words?
It's good to be back.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the board, I would also like to formally welcome CUNY's new Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. Frank Sanchez, who joins us following a nationwide search for the position. Vice Chancellor Sanchez, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. I look forward to the coming year. Thank you.
I would also like to formally welcome founding President Scott E. Evenbeck of the new CUNY Community College to this meeting. We are all looking forward to the progress of this important and unique initiative. President Evenbeck, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here.
People are extremely succinct this evening, Sandy, don't you think? I think it's a good sign, don't you? Congratulations are in order for Trustee Wellington Chen, who was reappointed by the governor and unanimously confirmed by the state Senate to a 7-year term on our board. And congratulations to Trustee Rita DiMartino, who was reappointed by the mayor and unanimously confirmed by the state Senate to a 7-year term on the board. I want to take note that Dr. Anthony Carpy, chair of the Sciences Department at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, has won the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Mathematics, and Engineering. Dr. Carpy was nominated for this award by the National Science Foundation for his pioneering work in creating an undergraduate research initiative in forensic science. We're unable to congratulate Dr. Carpy in person as he is in Washington, D.C. today for a White House ceremony. We're all delighted by this recognition of Dr. Carpy's work and that of the science program at John Jay College, and we look forward to having President Travis introduce him to the board at an upcoming meeting. Congratulations, Dr. Carpy. It gives me special pleasure to announce that the CUNY Law School was ranked as the #1 public interest law school in the country by Pre-Law magazine. In fact, the only other law school in the nation to receive an A+ rating was the Yale Law School. Congratulations. I want to extend our deepest condolences to Trustee Valerie Beal and her family. Valerie's father passed away on January 7th at the age of 91. On behalf of the board, I would also like to extend our condolences to Vice Chancellor Jillian Small, whose mother, Doris Small, passed away on January 10th. Our condolences as well to the family of Hunter College President Emeritus and City College alumnus Dr. Frank Bonilla, who passed away on December 28th. Dr. Bonilla was the founding director of Hunter College's Center for Puerto Rican Studies, a position he held for 21 years. An accomplished and highly respected scholar, he also taught at the Graduate School and University Center for 20 years. I would like to report that the board held its Manhattan Borough hearing on Tuesday, January 18th, 2011. Trustee Frida Foster chaired the hearing that was also attended by Trustees Rita DiMartino, Charles Shorter, Corey Provost, and Professor Sandy Cooper. Members of the Chancellery and CUNY's Manhattan College presidents also attended. A summary of the hearing has been circulated to the trustees and the Chancellor's cabinet, and transcripts are available in the office of the Secretary. The board will hold its next borough hearing on Tuesday, February 8th, 2011 at Brooklyn Borough Hall. I'd like now to call on Trustee Valerie Beal to announce college and faculty honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Associate Professor of Black and Hispanic Studies at the Baruch College, Katrine Hansing, recently appeared on PBS NewsHour for a report about the economic changes facing Cubans. Also, Baruch College Assistant Professor Christina Balbara is the 2010 recipient for Outstanding Dissertation in Nonprofit and Voluntary Action Research. Congratulations to both. Hunter College Distinguished Professor of Literature Elizabeth Nunez is one of the 3 winners of the Barnes & Noble's Writers for Writers Award, which was established by the Poets and Writers magazine. The other winners include writer John Grisham. Hunter Professor of Physics and Astronomy Stephen Greenbaum was elected a Fellow of the American Physical Society, an honor limited to less than 0.5% of membership. Congratulations to both. Medgar Evers College Professor of Mass Communications and playwright Thomas Bradshaw published a volume of 2 plays, The Bereaved, which was named one of the best plays of 2009 in Time Out, New York, and Mary. Congratulations. Queens College Distinguished Professor of Sociology P. Young Gap Min is the recipient of the Association for the Study of Overseas Koreans' First Best Book Award for preserving ethnicity through religion in America, Korean Protestants and Indian Hindus across generations. And Queens College Elementary and Early Childhood Education Professor Pablo Tinio has been recognized by the American Psychological Association for his research on arts in education. Congratulations to them. New York City College of Technology Professor of Physics Justin Kavaporitz was recently named a 2010 to 2012 Scholar of the World renowned Kavli Institute for Theoretical Physics. He was chosen for this honor by Nobel laureate and Institute Director David Gross. Dr. Vasky Poritz has also won a National Science Foundation grant for his string theory research. Congratulations. This concludes my report. On behalf of my family, I'd like to thank all of the many well-wishers at the university who extend their condolences to my family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like now to call on Trustee Kathleen Pasilli to announce student and alumni honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 12 CUNY students are Spring 2011 recipients of the federally funded Benjamin A. Gilman Scholarship for students from families of modest means. They are Nicholas Echiavera of Baruch College, Athenia Curry and Rachel McCory of Brooklyn College, Jesse King, Catherine Mandler, and Gareth Rhodes of City College, and Adioeli Ote and Tasbassum Rashman of Macaulay Honors College at City College, Aaron Doler and Sayera Mohammed of Hunter College, Joanne Ruiz of Lehman College, and Roberto Paredo of Queens College. Congratulations to all. The Hunter College model on UN team was yet again the top award-winning team at the 2010 national competition in Washington, D.C., taking home the outstanding delegation and distinguished delegation top prizes. Congratulations. This concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. You'll find a list of grants and gifts received by the university since our November 22nd, 2010 meeting in Section 3 of your board book. You'll see across all of our institutions many multi-million-dollar grants that attest to the importance of the work that is being done here at CUNY. Now I'd like to call on Chancellor Goldstein to present his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will try to be brief because I have a number of very pressing items that I need to discuss with the board in executive session, and I suspect that that's going to take some time. So let me see if I can get through this report quickly. First, let me pay tribute to Judah Gribbett. Wonderful to have you back on the board, Judah. We look forward to working with you. Frank Sanchez, it's good to have you in the administration. We expect great things from you. And Scott Evenbeck, you have a daunting challenge with a new community college. We're going to have a conference call tomorrow with the Gates Foundation that has particular interest in what we're doing in this regard, and hopefully that will work out well. We now have a new state administration in Albany. I attended the State of the State address on January 5th. It was a sobering message that the governor-elect provided. I don't need to go into detail about the difficult financial times that we are facing in New York State. It's, again, not just New York State. This is symptomatic of what is happening all over the United States. Some have even said that the next bubble could be the state's bubble, and I don't think that's being too elliptical. The problems are deep, long-lasting, and there's going to have to be a lot of courage and a lot of very, very creative thinking to get through many of the financial challenges that this state has. We will know on February 1st when the governor releases his budget about how the university will be affected. I want to make sure everybody understands that we are bracing for cuts and the degree to which those cuts will have, I don't want to say profound impact on the university, still remains to be known. We obviously are in very close contact with the top people in the Andrew Cuomo's administration, with the budget director. So we have something of the parameters of what we will see, but until I see it on February 1st, I want to hold any judgment. But as soon as we do, obviously, we will be communicating with the entire CUNY community. After the budget is released by the governor, there will be hearings that I will testify at with the Assembly Ways and Means Committee and the Senate Finance Committee. That will take place in early February. It's going to be a very busy February for some of us. A fair amount of traveling that was scheduled some time ago, but we'll put it all together. There will also be a CUNY luncheon at the Black, Puerto Rican, and Hispanic and Asian Caucus weekend. I will be there on February 19th, which is for the luncheon. Our luncheon speaker is Robert Refkin, who just joined the CUNY Business Leadership Conference at my invitation. He is with Goldman Sachs and will be making a presentation establishing student scholarships and a mentoring program. On the city side, Mayor Bloomberg issued his November financial plan on November 18th, which included over $1.6 billion in citywide budget cutting actions. The CUNY reduction target for our community colleges was slightly under $12 million, but I'm pleased to say with very good work by so many people here at the university, $4 million of that cut was restored, and we're deeply grateful to the Speaker, the Chair of the Higher Education Committee, and Dominic Recchia of the Finance Committee for their help in moderating some of those very deep cuts. Jay Hershenson was very helpful in working on the political side, also with John Katowski, who continues to do very impressive work on our behalf with respect to the City Council. On Thursday, January 20th, the New York City Council Committee on Higher Education held a hearing regarding how CUNY is maintaining educational quality and access while facing financial challenges. I want to pay particular tribute to Matthew Sapienza, James Murphy, David Gomez for their help in providing testimony, and while I was not there, I understand that the hearing went very well. Mayor Bloomberg will issue his preliminary budget for fiscal year 2012. That obviously has to happen after the governor releases his recommendations to the state legislature. I will be meeting with the mayor privately right at the beginning of February. The two of us again have a number of items to discuss, and certainly very high up on the list have to do with will have to do with our community colleges. I was his State of the City address on the 19th of January. I was pleased that he did mention a number of things about CUNY. This was really one of the first times where we've heard CUNY mentioned as much as he did. First, when Karen Gould and I talked about she coming to Brooklyn College, I talked with her about an idea which had been surfaced a couple of years before that about starting a film school at Brooklyn College. I thought the idea had merit, and as a result, based upon those early conversations, we went down to the Steiner Studios in Brooklyn, had a tour of that impressive facility, and there's going to be a wonderful collaborative, Mr. Chairman, with Brooklyn College and the Steiner Studios. This was mentioned by Mayor Bloomberg, and I understand there are a number of alums now connected with Brooklyn College who are very anxious to get involved in a very, very serious way, showing their financial largesse for this very important activity. Another partnership that the mayor mentioned, our partnership with Columbia University and New York University Poly to create the New York City Urban Technology Innovation Center, which was officially launched last Thursday at a press conference with the mayor. Yet another exciting collaborative that we are involved with. Again, I'd like to thank Jillian Small, who, as you heard from our chairman, is not here today. Also, Professor Buzz Paswell, who is very important in this effort, Michael Bopker of the CUNY Institute for Urban Systems Buildings Performance Laboratory, laboratories, a few others who helped to make this a reality. The mayor recently announced that the city would like to partner with a university to develop and operate an applied sciences research facility to strengthen the city's applied sciences capabilities, particularly in the fields which lend themselves to commercialization. I initiated a conference call a couple of weeks ago with the heads of Columbia, NYU, Cornell, Mount Sinai School of Medicine, and Cooper Union. And we will be working in a collaborative way to fashion what we believe will be probably the very first serious effort to bring together leading research entities in New York as a response to this challenge. We'll see where that goes, and I'll certainly keep all of you informed about that. On February 9th, I will be speaking before the Citizens Budget Commission about the importance of CUNY as an economic force to help move the city and state forward. This follows by a speech that I gave a couple of weeks ago at the Harvard Club on the entrepreneurial university, and when I deliver that speech, it'll certainly be made available for all of you to see and to comment. I did mention at the previous board meeting that I will be starting my rounds this February at all of our campuses. I will be in touch with each of the presidents to schedule that particular time. The purpose is for me to have an opportunity to engage in a conversation with faculties and other members of the campus that I will be visiting to talk about the state of the university and to field questions regarding how budget challenges may impact on the health of the institutions that I will be meeting with. I did have an opportunity to spend an hour with Kathy Black, the new chancellor of the Department of Education of the schools. We had a very candid conversation. All of you know that I had a very close relationship with Joel Klein, and as a result of that have developed a set of protocols that were new to both of our institutions, metaphorically just opening up the hoods of both of our institutions, looking deeply into the way these institutions are run so that ultimately the students that we receive from the DOE schools and how they manage their educational challenges when they come to CUNY are better understood. I'm also pleased that under the very able leadership of Alan Dobrin, we have developed a new collaborative with IBM, DOE, and CUNY regarding the transformation of textbooks from hard copy to e-readers, and Alan and top officials at IBM and with the DOE are making wonderful progress, and we're looking forward to seeing where that important project goes. In mid-December, the Council of Education for Public Health conducted a site visit of the CUNY School of Public Health and gave us very high marks during the verbal exit interview. A formal report will be sent within the next coming weeks, and the final accreditation decision will be made by the Board of Counselors at their June 2011 meeting. I want to first thank President Rabb for her undivided leadership, Dean Olden, President Kelly, President Fernandez, and President Gould, all of whom are working together to see this new extraordinary effort come to fruition. And Ken, thank you in particular for being at the lead here, and we are deeply grateful for everything that you've done so far. I will be on a trip to Abu Dhabi with John Sexton In 2 weeks, you may know that New York University has established a campus there. The chairman and I will be there around the same time, and the chairman is doing very extraordinary work in Abu Dhabi, and there may be wonderful opportunities for CUNY as well, and I'll report back on those efforts when I return. This week, Wednesday actually of this week, we will finally get to launch the Health in America calendar. We will do that at the New York Historical Society. This is an effort championed by Jay Hershenson. Many calendars have been done. This one, each calendar gets better and better. And it's not only about the history of public health and medicine and allied fields connected with health in these United States, but it will be used for the development of curricula, we imagine. And Jay, thank you for really leading that effort. There is a new CUNY merchandising marketing program. It's more than about selling T-shirts and sweatshirts around the world. Alan Dobrin is handling that, and when that starts to take, when that's seated and we start to see some revenue, I'll report back on that to the board. I'm pleased to announce that Karen Gould will receive a Woman of Excellence and Achievement Award from the United Way of New York City at the Women United in Philanthropy's 5th Annual Awards Luncheon this Thursday, February 24th. Kudos to Jay Hershenson being appointed to the Department of Consumer Affairs, the Department of Consumer Affairs Consumers Council. Jay was also appointed to the National Advisory Board of the National Dominican American Council, Ugo. That should make you very pleased. And I'll stop at that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Chancellor. I think you'll find that Abu Dhabi is not a place that has financial constraints at the moment around its educational ambitions.
Follow the money.
There are CUNY T-shirts at the Abu Dhabi airport, too. We'll turn now to items that require a vote. You have a copy of the Chancellor's University report for January 24th, 2011 at the table. May I have a motion to adopt that report? May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions for the Chancellor? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Chancellor's report is adopted. You have a copy of the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 22nd, 2010 in your meeting book. Are there any revisions required? If not, may I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So move.
May I have a second? Any comments, questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? That carries. We'll turn now to our committee reports. We'll begin with the Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration. I'd like to call on Trustee Valerie Beal.
Mr. Chair, the Board Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration met on January 3rd, 2011 to consider the following items, which I now present to the Board for approval. Item 3A concerns expansion of the university's tobacco policy. This policy will supersede the one enacted by the Board on January 1st, 1995. Last spring, at the Chancellor's request, an advisory committee was convened to consider how the tobacco policy might be expanded to better protect the health of CUNY's students, faculty, and staff. The committee's recommendations include prohibiting 1. The use of tobacco on all grounds and facilities under CUNY jurisdiction, including indoor locations and outdoor locations, such as playing fields, entrances and exits to buildings and parking lots. 2. Tobacco industry promotions, advertising, marketing, and distribution of marketing materials on campus properties. And 3. tobacco industry sponsorship of athletic events and athletes. The updated policy is to be implemented no later than September 4th, 2012. Each college and the central office are to submit implementation plans for review and approval by the Chancellery no later than June 30th, 2011. Mr. Chair, I present item 3A for the board's approval.
Thank you. I'll second 3A. Are there questions on the tobacco policy? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? 3A carries.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Chancellor Goldstein to say a few words about this policy.
Let me just say that when Lexa Loeb, our very distinguished provost, gets onto something, she doesn't let loose. She asked about developing a tobacco policy for the university that had real teeth, and it immediately occurred to me that she was on the right track, and I said to her, just be careful, but let's try to get this done. And when you think about what we are doing in this university, taking a lead with a brand new school of public health, and what we know about the toxic effects of smoking, it just seemed to me that this was the right thing to do. So Lexa, I really just want to compliment you for coming up with the idea, for carrying it through and bringing the entire university community along with you. You're the one that really deserves the credit for this very, very important new policy that I hope the board will see the merits of. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Just a couple of words. This is, as you all realize, a very big step for both CUNY, which is a community of over 500,000 people, and thus also a very big step for New York City, because we are addressing the leading cause of preventable death in the world, including in New York City. And like many big things, it took a lot of work actually by a lot of people to get us to this day, and I'd like to mention some of those people. First of all, the Chancellor, of course, for his very strong leadership on this issue, because none of this would have happened without him. And so I really want to thank him. Also, members of the Chancellor's senior staff, including Executive Vice Chancellor Alan Dobrin, Senior Vice Chancellor Jay Hershenson, and Senior Vice Chancellor Rick Schaefer. Also, the members of the Tobacco Policy Advisory Committee. It was a very large committee, so I'm not going to name them all, but I do want to particularly mention Erica Dreyfus, who's the Office of Academic Affairs Director of Communications, Bill Ebenstein, University Dean for Health and Human Services, Nick Freudenberg, who's Distinguished Professor of Public Health in CUNY's new School of Public Health, and the two very supportive University Faculty Senate representatives, Karen Kaplowitz and Leslie Jacobson. And also I want to acknowledge the ongoing very significant support that we have received from the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And I should just say that this policy promotes basic values of 21st century American higher education, cultivating respect for others, emphasizing the importance of health and wellness, supporting environmental sustainability, and preparing students for professional success in increasingly tobacco-free workplaces. With this new policy, together we can all look forward to a healthier future for CUNY and New York City. Thank you.
Can I ask Rick Schaefer a question? Is it the implication of this that CUNY would not invest in any tobacco company stock?
That was not approved.
I was on the other side of that argument 20 years ago in
No.
New Haven. I just
No,
wondered.
the policy does not address that issue.
Well, I think, Joe Lodas, your committee might want to address the question for the endowment.
What side?
Back to you, Valerie Beal.
You obviously touched on an interesting topic there. Items 3B clarifies Section 6.2.c of the university's bylaws, which permits professorial appointments with immediate tenure for individuals holding tenure at another institution. The current language omits mention of the associate professor rank, necessitating a bylaw waiver and action of the board in order to grant immediate tenure to qualified candidates. As it is common practice in higher education to offer immediate tenure to a candidate who currently holds tenure at another institution, this amendment will eliminate an unnecessary bureaucratic hurdle for the university's campuses. Mr. Chair, I present item 3B for the board's approval.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any questions for the committee? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? That item is adopted.
Thank you. Item 3C revises the university's statement of policy on multiple positions to allow for increased participation by full-time faculty in weekend courses, winter session courses, and online degree programs. These changes are intended to provide the colleges with greater flexibility in scheduling summer programs and in staffing short-term, non-teaching professional projects. Simultaneously, the policy has been clarified to require notification and transparency with regard to outside employment, consulting arrangement, or other work by faculty members. The details of the policy revisions are outlined in the board calendar. Mr. Chair, I present item 3C for the board's approval.
All right. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there questions or comments on this new policy? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? That carries.
Thank you. Item 3D authorizes the continuation of military leave and health and welfare benefits for university employees who are members of the National Guard, Reserve Forces, or reserve components of the Armed Forces of the United States in response to the continuing need for these employees to serve in the armed forces with regard to the military actions in Afghanistan. Mr. Chair, I present item 3D for the board's approval.
I'd like to second that. Are there questions about this? All, yes, please.
Is it just limited to Afghanistan?
Want me to answer?
Yes.
No, it continues the extension of the benefits for those who began serving in the armed forces beginning on September 11th and continue forward. We needed to add Afghanistan to the resolution. That was not mentioned.
I see. Thank you.
Further questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? That carries.
Item 3E concerns the naming of the Tal Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism in recognition of a $3 million pledge from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation and a matching $3 million challenge grant from the Tal Foundation. The center will be dedicated to educating students and mid-career journalists, supporting research and developing new journalistic enterprises. Mr. Chair, I present item 3E for the board's approval.
I'd like to second that. Are there comments or questions on item 3E? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Dean Shepard, do you want to make a comment?
And break precedent today? We're delighted to have it. We're starting this semester with a certificate program in entrepreneurial journalism for some of our students and for professionals who come back for a semester for more training. So we're delighted. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Item 3F designates 4 new distinguished professors, each effective February 1st, 2011. The committee has reviewed each of these appointments and is pleased to recommend their approval. The appointment of Sarah Schulman as Distinguished Professor in the Department of English at the College of Staten Island. The appointment of Douglas Whalen as Distinguished Professor in the Department of Speech, Language, and Hearing Sciences at the Graduate School and University Center. The appointment of Robert Reed Farr as Distinguished Professor in the Department of English at the Graduate School and University Center, and the appointment of Susan Buck Moores as Distinguished Professor in the Department of Political Science at the Graduate School and University Center. Mr. Chair, I present these appointments for the board's approval.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Those appointments carry.
Mr. Chair, this concludes my report, except to say that I am delighted that all 4 of our new distinguished professors are here with us today. I would therefore like to invite President Morales to introduce Professor Schulman, after which President Kelly will introduce Professors Whalen, Reed Farr, and Buck Morris. So first, President Morales.
Thank you, Trustee Gill. It is my pleasure to introduce Sarah Schulman, Distinguished Professor of English. Professor Schulman has served the College of Staten Island and the City University of New York as an extraordinary scholar, playwright, teacher, advisor, and mentor. Professor Schulman has produced significant contributions across disciplines at national and international levels. Her work has made an invaluable impact in creative writing, theater, film, and gay and lesbian culture. Professor Schulman has published prolifically during her career, including 9 novels, 4 works of nonfiction, and 1 play. Her work has been translated into 9 languages and been included in scores of anthologies. She has produced more than a dozen plays in theaters and other performance venues. Her work in the arts has gained her Fulbright and Guggenheim fellowships. This past year, her co-authored screenplay, The Owls, premiered at the prestigious Berlin Film Festival. As a journalist, her work has appeared in the New York Times, The Guardian of London, The Nation, The Village Voice, Mother Jones, Interview, The Progressive, American Theater, and many others. Professor Schulman's many contributions dedicated to the cultural and political spheres of LGBTQ arts and ideas were recently honored with the David R. Kessler Lecture and Award in LGBTQ Studies at the CUNY Graduate Center. This past year, Professor Schulman was also appointed to the Advisory Council of the Harvard Kennedy School Carr Center for Human Rights and Social Movements. In addition to her work across the arts, one of her most significant contributions to the broader community is the ACT UP Oral History Project that she coordinates with Jim Hubbard. This is an activist organization and movement that proved crucial to shifting the cultural, legal, medical, and political momentum about AIDS in the United States. The picture, painted by letters of support received from a wide range of international scholars, identifies the key role that Professor Schulman plays on the world stage where art and politics convene. They refer to her contributions as cutting edge, stimulating, and provoking, vital, magical, and innovative. In addition to Professor Schulman's international renowned scholarship, artistic contributions, and creativity, her work with students as an advisor and mentor has significantly contributed to enhancing a sense of community at the College of Staten Island. Hence, with these recommendations and accolades from an international collection of external reviewers and a thoughtful and thorough deliberation of the Distinguished Professor Committee, I'm honored to present Professor Sarah Schulman as Distinguished Professor.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this. I am a second-generation product of the public school system of New York City. My mother was from Brownsville, East New York, and went to Thomas Jefferson High School and was in the first class of women at City College in 1949, when women had to have a higher GPA than men to be admitted. And I went to Hunter High School. I graduated 1 year after Jennifer Rabb. And then went to Hunter College and studied with Audre Lorde, and that experience has enriched me all my life. I also want to thank you for acknowledging my school, the College of Staten Island. We have a lot of exciting new scholars coming into our school, and I'm sure many of them will cross this threshold in the future. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Trustee Beal. I'm delighted to introduce Professor Douglas H. Whalen. Dr. Whalen is an internationally recognized linguist, one of the world's foremost authorities on language documentation and preservation, and a leading researcher in the fields of speech science and phonetics. He holds a bachelor's degree from Rice, where he completed 4 full majors in linguistics, English, anthropology, and German. He holds 2 master's degrees and a PhD from Yale, where he studied with the legendary Alvin Lieberman. He comes to the Graduate Center from the Haskins Laboratories in New Haven, where he has served for the last decade as Vice President for Research and Senior Scientist. From 2006 to 2008, he was a Program Director at the National Science Foundation, affiliated with the programs in Cognitive Neuroscience, Endangered Languages, and Linguistics. In 2007, the NSF presented Dr. Whalen with the Director's Award for Excellence in Program Management. He is the founder and president of the Endangered Language Fund, an NGO which provides grant support through 2 programs, one focused on the documentation and preservation of the world's 6,000 endangered languages, the other directed toward members of Native American tribes descended from those contacted during the Lewis and Clark expedition. Dr. Whalen is a prolific writer with an extraordinarily broad research portfolio. He has published more than 60 articles and chapters in top-tier journals from around the world, dealing with such far-ranging subjects as articulatory dynamics, psychophysics, neurobiology, language development and disorders, and cognitive neuroscience. He has an impressive record of external funding. I would note in particular a major NIH grant that enabled him to conduct groundbreaking research on the interrelation of speech perception and speech production. The reviewers we contacted were in accord about the significance of Dr. Whalen's work and his standing in the speech science community. He holds, one wrote, a secure, quote, place among scientific luminaries in the field of speech and language. He is, a second told us, one of the most wide-ranging, productive, and public-spirited members of my generation in speech science. A third told us that his profile of grants, publication, and other indicators of esteem positions him as one of the highest achieving speech scientists in the world. It is with great pride that the Graduate Center welcomes Dr. Douglas Whalen to our faculty.
I'd like to thank the department, the Provost's office, President Kelly, and indeed the Board of Trustees for this honor. It is indeed the highest honor of my academic career, and I look forward to pursuing more opportunities through the Graduate Center. Speech is perhaps the most human of activities. It's partly what makes us human, and it seems very natural because it comes naturally to most of us, and therefore it seems kind of simple. When it breaks down, however, we discover that it's not very simple at all, and I've spent the past 30 years trying to unravel its mysteries, and there's a lot more to be done, perhaps not another 30 years for me, but many years to come, and I'm looking forward to working through this program at the Graduate Center. Thank you very much.
It's a great pleasure as well to present my colleague Robert Reed Farr. Professor Reed Farr is an internationally renowned scholar in 3 fields: African American literature, American studies, and queer studies. He holds a bachelor's degree from the University of North Carolina, 2 master's degrees from Yale, and a PhD in American studies from that august institution, Mr. Chairman. He joined the Graduate Center's English program in 2001 from Johns Hopkins. He has also taught at Swarthmore, Humboldt University in Berlin, the University of Chicago, the University of Oregon, and most recently at Oxford University, where he served as the Drew Hines Visiting Professor of American Literature. He has been the recipient of fellowships from the Ford Foundation, the Mellon Foundation, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. Professor Reed Farr is the author of 3 widely reviewed and universally acclaimed books and more than 20 articles, reviews, and essays that have appeared in major refereed journals in the United States and in Europe. Further, he has co-edited 2 major encyclopedias, each a critical reference work one in lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender studies, and the other in African American culture and history. He has also written the introduction to the Modern Library edition of The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olaudah Equiano, a seminal, in my judgment, the seminal text in African American studies. A remarkable record for any scholar, an astonishing achievement for one so young. The distinguished scholars we contacted in preparing this nomination were unanimous in their praise for Professor Reed Farr's work and their assessment of its significance. One described him as, quote, the author of the most important book about early African American fiction. Another spoke of being, quote, riveted by the brilliance of his insights. A third concluded his letter by asserting that Robert Reed Farr is without question one of the world's leading scholars of 19th century African American writing. None of this was any surprise to us at the Graduate Center. For a decade, we've marveled at Robert's scholarship, admired his teaching, and reveled in his company. In the 10 years that we've been colleagues, I've had only one bad moment with Professor Reed Farr, and that was last spring when he told us that he was considering an offer to join the faculty at Oxford. I'm delighted that he chose to remain among us, and proud indeed to recommend him as a candidate for a distinguished professorship. Robert, thank you.
Thank you very much, President Kelly. I just would like personally to take this opportunity to thank you for the amount of encouragement that you've given me over the year. It's been a great deal to me. I'd also like to thank Chancellor Goldstein and the members of the Board of Trustees. I was a graduate student at Yale when Chairman Schmidt was the president at Yale. I remember him distinctly saying that we should go out and do something positive for the world. I hope that this counts. Finally, as we're at the beginning of a new semester, I just want to revisit for 1 second an ongoing debate that I have with all of my students, many of whom are very frightened that they're not going to find the types of jobs that they want and that our country and indeed our planet are in states of decline from which we may not recover. In the face of that, I continue to be extremely hopeful about the future of the City University of New York, about the Graduate Center, and who would have thunk it that an institution, and now I'm talking about the Graduate Center in particular, which is barely 50 years old, would have the type of presence in academic life, in business life, in research, in government, and elsewhere in society that it does today. I think that that speaks to the strength of all of us. Again, I'm deeply honored to have been associated with the City University for the last 9 years, and I look forward to working with you all in it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chancellor, it's a pleasure to see the population of Yale PhDs swelling in CUNY.
Imagine if we had real
Again, a great honor and pleasure to present Susan Buck-Morss. Professor Buck-Morss is one of the English-speaking world's most prominent and influential cultural theorists. She comes to the City University from Cornell, where she was the Jan Rock Zubrow Professor of Social Sciences. The extraordinary range of her expertise is such that at Cornell she held appointments in 4 separate academic programs: comparative literature, art history, German, and the School of Architecture, Art, and City and Regional Planning. She holds a bachelor's degree from Vassar, a master's from Yale, Mr. Chairman, and a PhD from Georgetown. Her graduate... There we go. I knew Trustee Beal would be pleased. We try to vary our approach. Her graduate work also included study at the Goethe Universität in Frankfurt am Main. I'm not sure how many Germanists we have with us today. Professor Buck-Morss is the author of 5 highly acclaimed books, each of which has been translated into several languages, including Hebrew, German, Japanese, Swedish, Portuguese, Urdu, Korean, Turkish, Serbian, and French. As that roster would suggest, her audience is global. The list of invited lectures she has delivered around the world is extensive. She has been a fellow at the London Institute, the Academy de la Latinité in Brazil, the Research Center for Surrealism in Manchester, and the Jan van Eyck Academy of Art in Maastricht. She's been a Rockefeller Foundation Scholar in Bellagio and a Day Research Fellow in Berlin. Professor Buck Morris has been the recipient of many prestigious honors and awards. I note only a few: a Guggenheim, 2 Fulbrights, a Getty Fellowship, and a MacArthur International Peace and Security Fellowship. In preparing our nomination, we contacted some of the most distinguished scholars and critics in the world. It would not be hyperbolic to say that their praise for Professor Buck Morris's work and their sense of its consequence was ecstatic. Her work on Adorno and the Frankfurt School, we were told, is, quote, the fundamental reference point in English for these important writers and theorists. Her work on Walter Benjamin has, quote, proven transformative in the scholarly interpretation of his work. Her investigations of the ideological and cultural competition between the United States and the Soviet Union throughout the 20th century, and her post-9/11 study, Thinking Past Terror, were praised as, quote, critical interventions in the most significant public concerns of our day. Her most recent book, Hegel, Haiti, and Universal History, which has attracted broad attention in the U.S. and abroad, was described as, quote, stunningly smart and provocative. That's about right. As pleasing as it was to read these encomia, they were superrogative for those of us at the Graduate Center who have been nurtured by Professor Buck Morris's writing across 3 decades. For us, and for anyone committed to the life of the mind during those challenging years, she has been preeminent, an informing presence in so much of the most significant work accomplished within cultural studies. We are delighted to claim her as our colleague. I present her today with great pride.
Thank you, President Kelly. I want to say that it's really an honor to be honored by you in this way today. And it is with great humility that I take on a position at a public graduate center, public system, having been only in the private sector for the whole time. And it involves a public trust of a very particular sort, which I take extremely seriously. And to me, it is totally within my own political sense of responsibility to take this on at this period of my life. I also want to say that I have been in many different departments at Cornell, and on very cold days like today, that meant long walks across campus to various department meetings, and I'm so happy to be in one building no matter what my interest. I think you did leave out my main department, which is political science, and here I wanted to note that I was in contact with my colleague, my cherished colleague, Frances Fox Piven. I know you've all been reading about her in the New York Times. To have these kinds of colleagues is indeed an honor. I have been hired under the Provost Chase Robinson's new initiative of globalization. I've written on the global public sphere. I take that responsibility very seriously, and I see the possibilities of the Graduate Center participating to that global public sphere as limitless, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Trustee Beal, anything further to report?
That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll turn next to the Committee on Student Affairs and Special Programs. I'd like to call on Trustee Pasili to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on Student Affairs and Special Programs has one action item for the board's approval. The committee met on January 3rd, 2011, and approved the following calendar item. Calendar item 4A, Baruch College, amended College Association bylaws. The CUNY Board of Trustees has last approved revisions to the bylaws of the Bernard M. Baruch College Association in 1992. As part of a general review of its operations, the association recently reviewed and revised the bylaws to better meet the needs and reflect current best practices. In accordance with board bylaws, section 16.10, the amended bylaws of the association have been approved by the Baruch College president, reviewed by the University Office of the General Counsel. The association will retain its board structure of 13 members composed of the Baruch College president or his or her designee as chair, 6 students, 3 administrators, and 3 faculty members. In addition to technical revisions, changes to the bylaws include the following. A, student directors must now meet the requirements of the Board of Trustees Student Leadership Eligibility Guidelines. B, consistent with statutory requirements, all at-large directors shall now serve for specified terms. C, the provisions regarding the filling of vacancies were clarified. D, provisions regarding conflict of interest and indemnification were added. And E, provisions regarding an audit committee, a health advisory committee, and a student programming board were added. And other provisions regarding committee operations were clarified and consolidated. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report on calendar item 4A.
Thank you. May I have a second on this item?
Second.
Are there questions for the committee? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? 4A carries.
Mr. Chairman, the Committee on Student Affairs and Special Programs has 2 information items that were presented at its meeting on January 3rd, 2011. I want to report that Executive Vice Chancellor and University Provost Alexandra Logue made a presentation to the committee on the tobacco policy resolution. I would also like to report that the New York Public Interest Group, NYPIRG, in accordance with CUNY policy, presented its 2009-2010 annual report to the committee. Mr. Chairman.
Anything further? Thank you very much. That concludes our public business for the public meeting. We'll have an executive session as soon as we can clear the room. We're adjourned. Session. We have one matter to take up. I would like to call on Vice Chairman Philip Berry.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, I have a resolution here, number 5, for the designation of the president of Bronx Community College. Resolved that Carol Baroque Joseph be designated as the president of Bronx Community College effective July 18th, 2011, at a compensation to be recommended by the Chancellor to the Board of Trustees, subject to financial ability. Our explanation, just so that all of us are clear, is that there was a search committee that was chaired by Trustee Frida Foster, and at the conclusion of an extensive national search, the committee recommended 3 finalists for the presidency of Bronx Community College. The Chancellor is recommending Carol Baroque Joseph as president. Dr. Baroque Joseph is currently the president of Mass Bay Community College. She was previously Chief Academic Officer and Dean of Academic Affairs at Dutchess Community College, SUNY, and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Hostos Community College. An expert in the field of social linguistics, Dr. Baroque Joseph has authored, translated, and edited numerous articles on educational policy issues facing Haitian communities in the United States as well as in Haiti. She earned a BA from York College. It means that she is family. And also holds an MS in education from Fordham University, as well as a PhD in bilingual education, social linguistics from New York University.
Thank you. I'd like to second the motion. Are there questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any abstentions? Opposed? Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I would like to thank Chairman Schmidt, the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Goldstein, the Honorable Frida Foster, and members of the Search Committee for this wonderful opportunity to serve at Bronx Community College. I am honored and blessed to be able to become a part of Bronx Community College's legacy at such an important time in the life of the institution. I look forward to working with the outstanding faculty, dedicated staff, hardworking students, supportive alumni, and friends of the college and the entire Bronx community. Together, we will continue to build upon Bronx Community College's great legacy of service to the Bronx and to this great city. Together, we will continue to transform lives. I look forward to the opportunities for meaningful dialogue with all stakeholders, and I am thrilled to come back home. Thank you.
Chairman, with your indulgence and members of the board, I just want to say that we're privileged that Carolyn Williams will continue to stay on in her wonderful leadership role for the spring semester, and certainly the board will have an opportunity to pay tribute appropriately to Carolyn for the wonderful work and to work with Carolyn. Carolyn working with Carol over the next several months for a smooth transition from the Williams time to the Joseph time.
All right, is there any other business for this meeting? If not, we're adjourned.